that is also available to us, and that's the path of spirituality. So it is up to us whether to keep fumbling around in the material world and keep wasting our life, or go beyond that. That's the bottom line.
Even that example for that white mouse
Yes.
traveling,
Right.
it changes the gene color of the
Right.
upper portion became black
Right.
and the bottom portion
Remained the white, because the white mouse was in the area with the mud and everything, and all the surrounding was black and was being picked up by the eagle all the time.
Because of the volcano erupt, the whole ground was black, and the mouse was white, and eagles, it was easy to spot a white mouse on a black surface. Then somehow a gene changed to grow their hair black instead of white.
So even at the subconscious
survive.
level, just the desire to survive.
Camouflaging, yes.
Yeah, but
It's not camouflaging. The color of the hair
Right,
changed.
And it was permanent change. That's true.
Permanent change. It's not camouflage. How did it change?
again, it's the desire to survive.
Yeah. I'll send you the video.
So it's
The same
being,
thing, yeah.
so it's like if you think that the intelligence of the mouse is so limited, but we are not talking about intelligence anymore. There is a higher intelligence working at a much higher level, giving all these facilities and structures available to us to survive, and with the ultimate goal of the advancement of the whole species of animals, and ultimately meet the final destiny of some purpose, rather than, because individual animals, they don't have intelligence to say, oh, let me try to change my pigments of my back, or they can't do it. But it's happening at the subconscious level,
Yes.
the subconsciousness at the spiritual level. And at the spiritual level is the highest intelligence operating. That shows the function of the consciousness, how smart it is, how it creates all these animals that can survive in nooks and crannies, even in the deepest forest and even the deepest caves where even the sun rays doesn't go, and there is a life there.
Yeah.
How does it
Spiders,
do that?
they hide behind the
And
closets.
they have found out, like there are some organisms now they have found out on the bottom of the ocean where the sun never reaches there. They used to think that solar energy in one form or the other is usually very important for them to survive. But not true. They say, well, they will need oxygen. Not true. Now there are organisms living on cyanide coming from the volcanic ash at the bottom of the ocean. Cyanide, you think that's a poison and it's anti-life. No, the bacteria surviving on cyanide are also there. So the life is amazing. It has so many ways to express itself. The consciousness is always going to be there. After you and me and whole human species will be gone, consciousness will be always there, creating, recreating, and then enjoying its own experiences in one way or the other. Because if you really look at it, the way we decided humanistic experience, all right, is all spiritual. There is nothing physical about it. Because we touch something, a puppy or something, we inhale the rose fragrance, but its objects were outside, they never went in, recreate the experience in our mind, right? But ultimately, it was just the flow of energy that created, right? So it was a spiritual energy that is present in us was having the experience. But now, look at the other side. What about the rose? What about the puppy? That also has this spiritual aspect. So one spirituality interacting with another spirituality and recreating this experience. So the matter doesn't matter. Really, the material aspect is not that important. This is just an experience. So we are the consciousness having all these experiences. We should not get entangled, otherwise we get depressed like Mr. D. And I'm gonna die.
What another meaning of this is also that we have a wrong belief that genes are everything and genes control, but that's not true. That there is a power within us that we can control the gene and we can change the gene's behavior. So that's why they say that positive thinking is very important. Like we usually say, be positive, be positive. That's what it means. That if you are positive, it has an influence on your genes and it changes the behavior of your genes and it suppresses the bad expressions on the body and mind and physiology level. So that is what basically is the essence of the epigenetics.
And the other way around too. You may have a suppressed diabetic gene. And it may remain suppressed if you watch your diet and everything. But your desires may be going for the bad objects. and then your behavior changes, and the diabetic gene expresses. They say by 2020, 40% of China is going to be diabetic from all the wealth that they're getting. And McDonald's, that's going there thanks to America. We are exporting.
There is a subtle saying unconsciously we are like commenting. Watch what you are asking for.
It may come true.
But you may get what you are asking for. But that is what is behind that. It is the same energy. That if you think that I'm going to have a cancer,
you would have.
Yeah, basically, that prana starts working in your body to really create a cancer in your body. So that's when you don't be negative. You don't think that you're going to have cancer. You think that you are healthy, you are powerful, nothing is going to happen to you, and very likely that's what will happen.
देखा ना ओम शांति ओम, शाहरुख खान का मूवी. जिस चीज को सच्चे दिल से चाहो, पूरी कायनात जुड़ जाती है उसको आपसे मिलाने में.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want to meet the consciousness ultimately, because that's where your ultimate destination is, right? So if you create a desire, and it still is a desire, nobody says give up the desire, but sublimate your desires, desire for a better thing in life, and then ultimately you will meet the consciousness face to face. And who said you need religions? Who said you need Judaism or Christianity or Muslim? Nothing like that. There is nothing like that. Be where you are. Do what you are doing in life, but do it with your heart. I mean, these guys, like in physics, they are ultimately coming face to face with God. He says, we give up. What else can we do? There is something there that we can't figure it out. And that's when you bow down. The same thing, this guy, the biology of belief, and is a PhD, Dr. Lipton, Bruce Lipton. He says that his life was so boring. He had gone through divorce and a lot of financial losses and this and that, and he was teaching in a med school in Caribbean islands, and that's when he started, because his primary object was the cellular structure, and he realized that every cell is an independent organism, ability to exist on its own. And we think that cell, a tiny cell, is nothing. They say that every cell does exactly everything that we're doing as a human being. We have about like 50 trillion cells in our body. But every cell has its own reproductive function, eating function, digestive function, excretory functions. It has a covering. It has everything. It is it's a microcosm, just like a macrocosm. And that's what our rishis have been saying. The whole universe is within us. Within a tiny atom is the whole universe, right? So he found out that the genetic material that's in the cells, there are external factors controlling it rather than the other way around. Genes are basically just the soldiers carrying out the functions through the commands that have been sent to them. But where are the commands coming from? That's where all the consciousness that's around in the form of thoughts and beliefs and all these things ultimately control the behaviors, control the on-off switches, and ultimately expresses itself. So genes are the intermediate pathway. They do the job of creating. So that's what Chinmayanand said. Said this is like if you want to build a house. Architect is ready to do whatever you want him to do, but it's your wish. What kind of house do you want? It's up to us. If you want a house where spirituality is everything, then that's what you're going to get. If you want to build a casino, you can have a casino. Whatever you want, that's what the God says, okay, this is the infrastructure. I give you the molecules, I give you the genes, and I give you the chromosomes, and whatever, you have everything. You decide what kind of... So ultimately, it's our desire that's going to control everything. So, because wherever you go, ultimately, you blend in and you see the work of consciousness. But the key thing, you have to put your heart in it. You're a doctor, be the best possible doctor. And that's when you're going to meet the consciousness face to face. Okay, don't worry about the money. See God. See the consciousness in the patients. You're a garbage collector, put your heart into it. Do everything. Everything to the last possible second, to where you can be the best garbage collector in the world. Put your heart into it. That's when you're going to see consciousness. Like these guys, the physicists and all these cellular biologists and all that, they're realizing that it's amazing what they see is amazing. He said that genetic transfer takes place between cells all the time. And they thought that it was this Darwin's theory was survival of the fittest, that, oh, there is a competition, I want to be better than you, and whoever is better will survive. That's proving false now. So they said that's not true. It's the genetic transfer that takes place between the different species that ultimately, for the survival of the ultimate life that we have, that consciousness is, because consciousness needs these physical structures, the matter, to express itself. That is a goal that consciousness has. We say, why all these things are happening? If consciousness didn't have to do anything, but consciousness seems like wants to fill itself. So it has created all this universe, and the purpose is to have the experience of itself, just like a tree trying to become a tree again by forming a seed. The whole process the tree goes through, all these several years of sunrise and winters and all the storms and rain and shine and everything it goes through, ultimate purpose is to recreate a seed so that it can have another tree again. So everything in the world wants to go back to itself. So why not the consciousness too? Consciousness also is trying to go through all these experiences and ultimately wants to merge in itself. So it's recreating whatever works, and whatever flows in that grand plan stays. Whatever does not is going to be vanished. Humans are the only one. Like he showed that what happens at the molecular level, all this genetic transfer is taking place. We have bacteria which are becoming resistant to several antibiotics, right? But that resistance may be confined to one species of bacteria. But all of a sudden, a different bacteria, different species altogether, picks up the same thing. How did it happen? There is an actual genetic transfer taking place at the molecular level, that one set of bacteria transfer that information, how to fight that antibiotic. It's an intellectual thing going on. And then next you know, like say the streptococci were resistant to this, now the staphylococci also resistant to that. And now there's mycobacteria also, because I'm just giving an example. So all that genetic transfer is taking place even at the molecular level. There is so much cooperation. Oh, you want to survive? This is how to fight it. I mean, literally, that kind of thing is happening. So there is a mutual cooperation for the ultimate goal is happening even at the molecular level. So if only it's us, we are fighting and fighting all the time, and I'm better than you and this, and it's totally anti-consciousness. Consciousness was never meant to be that way. So mutual cooperation, and for whole survival of a human race, that's the only way. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karvavahai. That's really the ultimate goal that the Hinduism and our Indian spirituality has given, So that's the way it should be. So
the another analogy of that is, let's say the one cell, right? What one cell is doing, but then you take the trillions of those cells and make a heart, and see that what one cell was doing now, when they get together and see how beautiful the heart is able to do it. So you can see the teamwork, how good it brings out. So, and we are not doing that. All humans should be really working in a team manner, and then the fruit would be really so beautiful for the whole human race. And apparently we are not doing that.
Correct.
And we have that potential. Like if you do a look at the stem cells, right? The stem cells have potential to just transform itself into anything you want. You want the new heart, you got it, like that. So now they're experimenting with all the stem cells. They are the most, with the full potential to turn into anything. And this is how it happens. Like, but the first time the conception takes place, there is only a single cell. The single cell divides into 2, 2 into 4, and 4 into 16, right? But all those cells are not differentiated yet. But as the differentiation keeps on happening more and more and more, that one cell that is coming from the origin, if it is sitting next to a cell which has already diversified into nervous tissue, it will continue to become a nerve cell. And then ultimately the nerves will be created. But the same cell, instead of just pick it up from here and put it in the cardiac area, will turn into a heart cell. So all these cells have a potential to become anything.
Right, with nanotechnology.
Right, yeah. So all those things are now, so they already have made an artificial heart, right, from the pig's heart. They removed the heart, they removed all the cells And whatever collagen structure was left behind, they put the person's, not, they haven't done it with a human being yet, but another animal's heart cell into that, and all the heart cells grew around it and recreated the whole beating heart. It's
Even
amazing.
For the limbs also.
The
right?
limbs the same. The ears they already have done for the humans. Now they are almost on the verge of putting people's their own ears for the Iraq soldiers who had lost the ears and everything. The collagen structure of the ear is already there. All they have to do is that transform the cell structure into their own, and then it transforms into a whole human ear. It's amazing. So it's just the potential that we all have to basically our external environment decides what we're gonna be. So we should keep our environment clean, our thoughts clean, because environment feeds into our satsang, that we have all these discussions and that stays in our mind, and we continue to, that influences our genetic behavior, our ultimate behavior, the chromosomes and everything, and ultimately we all will reach the final goal, right? So the playing around in the material world, it gives us the finite pleasures because the material itself is finite. So all these experiences leave us kind of sense of incompleteness because it's never going to be complete. And that's why we'll be looking for some more pleasures and then more pleasures, feeling incomplete all the time. But when you look at yourself as a spiritual person, as a spirit, not a person, spiritual entity, that is complete. There is nothing beyond that. So that sense of incompleteness is what generates the desire. So yes, if you, from the human experience itself, if you want to merge into consciousness, you're going to have a desire to reach there. So desire is a material, but once you reach there, all the desires stop. Then there is nothing left anymore. You feel complete. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate. So it's the infinite. When you reach that infinite state, there won't be any more desires left. Then you live a life of total bliss. So they say that gaze should be turned to the spring of life. The life as we see it, there is an origin, and we want to reach to that origin. Because in that origin, the time and the space will be all dissolved. That experience will be beyond time and beyond space. And when it's beyond time, there is no birth or death. There is no dying there. You're perpetually alive, and it's a perpetual presence, omnipresence. So, and that consciousness is available to us deep inside. Through the meditation, we can feel it, and there are experiences that people have gone through. The other day I was in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep, right? So the best thing to do is meditate in the middle. It's an amazing experience. You feel, at least I felt, this consciousness was just right here, right? You just feel, you strip all your experiences, all your thoughts and everything, and you just sit there. And you feel because every experience that we have, right, in the external world, we never pay attention to we never break it down into the steps that it takes for us to experience an outside object. Because you have to have awareness, you have to be existent first. Those are the two building blocks that we have on the basis of which our experience lies, because that's the starting point, and that's at our end. And then we extend our awareness outside to an object, it reflects against that object and comes back to us. And all this happens in such a fraction of seconds that we don't even think about all these things. But we never pay attention to that awareness and the existence. So when we strip off all the objects and everything, all the external objects, the people, the experiences and everything, you still you are there with that awareness and the existence. And that becomes a major thing, and then you just start enjoying that. Because the thing is that in the material world, if I give you two choices, right, one choice is always going to be better than the other. But when your requirements starts going down, your desires are going down, you say, I'm happy with what I have. Then you just, all your material possessions are just not necessary to be happy anymore. Whether they are there or not doesn't matter. But you know what? That existence and awareness will be always there. And when you're happy, even with that happiness is the real happiness. Because that's not your possession anymore. That's what you are. And that's the ultimate happiness. So it's almost like, and when you're going back, because that's where you came from. You came from consciousness. Consciousness created everything, right? So it's almost like a child suckling to mother. And, I mean, for a child, for an infant, mother is everything. Mother does everything. Mother gives the child everything they want, right? And the comfort that you can have, because that's your mom. This is your mother. The consciousness is your mother. That's where everything came out from. And then you imagine that state of a childness, right? Being a child, where everything is taken care of, and whatever is given to you, you are happy. You don't have any desire because you don't know anything else to desire. At that stage, for you, mother is everything. Mother gives you everything, whatever is needed for you, all the comforts are taken care of. And whatever comforts are taken care of, you are happy with that. But when you start getting older, then your demand starts going more. And mother cannot meet with all the demands. Then you want candies and cookies and, and all these things. And what is mother going to say? No, you cannot have it. Says consciousness says, I made everything for you. I made the apples, I made the pears, and I made all these natural fruits. Not enough for you? And you want apple pie? Fine, go ahead. That's when consciousness says you're going to suffer. So we are leaving our attachment to our mother. And that's when we suffer, right? And why even look at yourself as a separate than that? Try to imagine the experience of going back into the womb of the consciousness. That's total merging into the consciousness. So that step has to come, because right now, say you're facing face to face with consciousness, you feel consciousness is there, but you still feel yourself as a separate entity. But then that's called the sub-ich samadhi. So, but when you merge into the consciousness and then everything becomes consciousness, you don't even know who you are. That's the ultimate samadhi. That's the nirbit samadhi. That everything about material, your body, your ego, everything is washed out. And then you will become part of that consciousness. The child becomes part of the mother's body. That life. So that kind of, like Ram Krishna Paramahamsa, right? That's how he reached the Vivekananda's guru. That's how he reached it, because Kali Mata was the ultimate for him. For him, it was the mother goddess, and that's how he reached that level of consciousness. Right?
Actually, when you get to that stage, then you also know whether it was the chicken first or the egg first.
Chicken and egg are both the same thing, right? Then there is no question asked. Chicken or the egg, they're all consciousness, so it doesn't really matter.
That question.
It's a simultaneous, right?
At that stage, that question gets answered.
See, that's what the Rajneesh said, right? So Rajneesh says that when you see a bush, you see the seed and a dying tree at the same time. They both are in there. If you look at a seed, the tree is hidden there, right? But we don't see it. The same way, when you see a beautiful blooming tree or a bush, you don't see a dying tree. But try to see a dying tree, because then it gives you a total concept of everything into your present moment, right? And when you see that, then you are in touch with consciousness as a total power of consciousness, because everything is going to change. Everything
so birth, growth, decay, and death.
Birth,
you
growth,
see
decay,
everything at the same time.
Everything in one time, exactly. So even though you don't see it with your senses, you feel it. It's there. The change is always there. So whenever you see an object in front of you, you see all the stages that it goes through, and then when that bush dies, it doesn't bother you, right? Because you're beyond that, because you already predicted that, you already knew that, that was built into it. So, and that's the totality, how you see it.
And that stage, time disappears.
Time disappears, because all the changes are at the time with the help of time, but you are transcending the time. All right, so much for today.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Any questions?
There will be another hour of discussion. I have no problem.